Hi guys, Black is here, and it has been 3 months since I bought my 2007 Mercedes C350 4matic, and I wanted to update people. I want to tell people how I feel about the car, how it's running, and you have any questions or comments. You know, if you're thinking about buying a Mercedes, but you've been afraid to because of the maintenance issues or whatever. Now, I put a little over maybe 2,500 miles on my car. I have to go back out. It's been about 2,500 miles at least on it. I drive it several times a week going to work. You know, I have other cars and I don't want them to sit, so sometimes I drive my Golf on Sunday. Like yesterday was Sunday, I drove the F-150. But today is Tuesday, I'm gonna drive the Mercedes to work. And okay, except for the stuff I've fixed, the only new problem I have is the horn sometimes is messing up. I need to replace the horns. I bought 2 horns. I haven't put them on. I could go out right now and put them on. That's what I need to do. Another thing, just recently I stopped to fill it up with gas on my way home because I had left at my job for about 3 days, and because I was driving my Trailblazer. So I drove it home and I stopped to get some gas, and I opened the fuel door and a piece of plastic falls out. And it's got the gas door locks when you lock the door inside the car. You know, even with the remote, when you unlock the door, the gas cap locks and unlocks. So there's a little plastic piece that keeps the door from going all the way in. Well, that broke off. So now the door goes all the way in. And the lock, it won't lock until you pull it out and then it'll lock. But anyway, I've tried to find videos on how to replace it, but there's videos on every other Mercedes except for my 2007 C350. I mean, they got I think 2008 is when they changed the body style, I think it's 2008 or 2009 or whatever. But they got cars for that one, but they don't have one for my body style or whatever. So anywho, I'm gonna try to take care of that today. It's not a big deal, but that's really the only new problem I have. You know, I love the power. It's not as good on gas as I thought it would be, but the thing, I'm gonna tell you why it's not. That engine, it's got a lot of torque. It's got a lot of low-end torque. It's got a lot of mid-range torque. It even got some high-end torque. The damn thing peaks 258 pound-feet of torque at 2,400 RPM. Now, that's pretty damn low. That's the lowest peaking. The only thing that peaks, I have that peaks that low is the Golf. The Golf peaks at 2,600. All right. But the F-150 peaks at 3,000. The Trailblazer peaks at 35. The Mercedes, not Mercedes, the DeVille, I think it peaks at 4,000 RPMs, and I think that's all the cars I own. So the Mercedes is peaking the lowest at 2,400, but it also makes power all the way up to $5,000. It makes that 258 pound-feet of torque all the way up to $5,000. And what does that mean? What does that feel like? Well, it feels like you're driving a bigger engine than you actually are, and you have power almost all the time. It feels almost like an EcoBoost, almost, you know. But whenever you step on the gas, you have power, you know. Even you're on the sprayer, you're doing 60, 70, or 80 miles per hour, you step into the gas, it don't really have to downshift, it will accelerate. Well, because the engine is so responsive like that, it's not real good on gas, all right? Now, I just filled up, like I said, the day the fuel door broke, and the fuel economy was 21.5, which is not as good as the Golf, but it's damn. And here's the crazy part. Now, the Golf is a freaking 4-cylinder, right? 115 horsepower, and it gets like 23 MPG, and here this Mercedes, much larger car, much larger engine, a lot more power, and it gets 21.5. So why does the Golf burn so much gas? For the same reason. Well, actually it's different. The Golf burns a lot of gas because it's an old technology engine, which is weird because it's a single overhead cam 4-cylinder, but they had the nerve to put drive-by-wire. But it does not have EGR. EGR on that Golf is built into the cam, so it does not have an EGR valve. And I think that's another reason why it burns so much gas. Also, it's geared pretty damn low. It's got like a 4:24 ratio diff, and the engine turns fast. And I don't drive 60. I drive 75 usually in the Golf, and it's turning like 3,400 RPM. So it tends to burn a lot of fuel when it's turning that fast. But the Mercedes is also not a Mercedes. It's got I think it's 327 final drive, which is a lot taller than that Golf. But the overdrive is not as deep as a lot of American overdrive. I think the overdrive in that transmission is 0.84, I think. So the engine, again, turns kind of fast. So that's the reason why it's not very good on gas, compared to other cars its size. But it's got a hell of a lot more response than cars its size, But anyway, I haven't had any other problem. Now, I'm going to tell you, there's one problem, but I've been having this problem since I got it. So it's not a new problem. It's 4matic, right? When it's cold and I bag out the driveway, when I make a sharp right or left turn, you can hear the wheel. It sounds like the rear end is messing up. And what it is the back wheel slipping because the all-wheel drive system is cold, and I think the oil needs to be changed. And I believe if I change the oil, it'll loosen up and it won't be so damn tight. Because the other day, I jacked it up to do something. I took the left front tire off. I can't remember what I was doing. But anyway, I took the left front tire off, and I was trying to turn I think I was I putting brakes on it? I was doing something. I don't remember what I was doing, but I jacked it up, and I took the front tire off, and I couldn't turn it. It was like the car was in park, but it's all-wheel drive. I was expecting to be able to turn the front wheels, but I couldn't. It was like it was in park. So that all-wheel drive system is just that tight. I think once it warms up, it allows more slippage between the front and rear wheels. Because the other day I was driving home and I stopped at a gas station. I made a tight left and right turn, and I noticed that it didn't seem, you can still feel it binding, but it's not quite as bad as when it's cold. But I need to get up under there and change the oil in the transfer case. And I believe that will take care of the problem, I believe. But I'm pretty sure it needs change. It probably has never been changed before. And on top of that, the transfer case only holds like a half a quart. I think it's slightly more than half a quart. They say transmission fluid. One time I read and said it had a separate transmission oil or whatever. And then another time I read it said it used whatever transmission fluid that goes in the transmission. Well, whatever, I'm going to the Mercedes dealership and get the damn transmission fluid. The reason I've been reluctant to change it is they tell me I gotta take the freaking drive shaft loose to get to the fill plug in the damn thing. It's got a fill plug that's supposed to be up high, and you gotta take the drive shaft loose from the transfer case to get to it. But anyway, otherwise, everything else. The only problem I have, the biggest problem I have with the Mercedes is not Mercedes' fault. It's the stupid ass owner that owned it before me. He spilled some cheap ass air freshener in the car, and it stinks. I've had the car cleaned. I put baking soda inside he put it in the armrest. I put baking soda in there. It still stinks. And when it rains outside, whenever it's humid, it really stinks. That's the biggest problem I have. But again, that's not Mercedes' fault. That's the stupid ass owner. It makes me so angry. Broke ass people, instead of cleaning out their car, instead of vacuuming out the car, getting the carpet shampooed, they go put air freshener in there on top of the funk that's already in there. But otherwise, the motor run good, transmission shifting good. Since I put brakes on it, it stops like it crazy. I mean, it's got some crazy brakes. I haven't touched the brakes in the back. When I checked, they had pretty good meat on them. The front brakes had pretty good meat on them, but the rotors were warped. So I put some new cheap, I think Detroit axle rotors on there. Not a good idea. And then why I say it's not a good idea is this. The Detroit axle rotors, they cross drilled and slotted. And I believe because of this cross drill and slotted, they make this roaring noise, this drone sound when you stop, especially when you stop hard. I noticed the same thing on my Golf, because my Golf has Detroit axle rotors. And it's a lot more pronounced in that Mercedes than it is in the Golf. But otherwise, I haven't had any problem. Oh, I had a brake light stop working, and that was an easy fix. And what else? No, that's it. Like I said, I haven't had any other new problems, you know. I love the car. I love the power. I love the way it goes around a freaking curve and just handle it. It feels like a damn Corvette, even though it's got the little puny 205, 55, 16 tires. It handles damn good. And the funny thing is the tires in the front are some no-name brand. I don't know, cheap. I spent like $120 something for 2 of them. Now the tires in the back are Continental, and they were like $270 something. You know, but I haven't really noticed a problem in the way the car handled anything. I'm pretty sure that those cheap tires are not gonna last nearly as long as the Continental, but whenever I have to replace them, I will let you know. And if, you know, I was supposed to did this in this video, but yeah, I guess you can watch the video. What I did to get it running, you know, I bought it at an auction. I forgot to tell you, if you don't know, I bought it at an auction for $800, a police impound auction. I had to pay like $63 to rent a trailer to tow it home. I had to buy a battery for $240. I had to pay a locksmith $450 to come out and make a key. But we put the key in the switch, crank it up, and the damn thing, it ticked when it first started up, lifter tick, but within a few seconds, it went away, and it was quiet as a house mouse. That thing, the engine, again, when I got it with 73,000 miles, it runs great. I don't see no smoke. I've checked the oil a few times. I don't think it's using in the oil. I haven't had any problems with the overheating. The air conditioning worked. The heater worked. Oh, when I got it, you couldn't cut the fan off. The fan would not go off. So I had to go on eBay and buy a little head unit for like $60, $70 or whatever. I put it in. Now you can cut the fan off. The air conditioner still works. All the different modes works. I don't have a problem controlling the temperature. Be honest with you, I'm gonna say it's a great car. I'm gonna say it's a great car. Now some people think, you know, a lot of people I know are holding their breath. I almost said something else. But they're holding their breath, waiting on it to have problems. But the thing is this, I can work on cars. So anything go wrong with it, I can fix it. Speaking of anything go wrong with it, when I got it running, I had a battery light, right? And then I had drove it up to get some tires put on it. And when I got to the tire place, I went to crank it up to leave. It crunk up, cut off. Crunk up, cut off. Crunk up, cut off. And then it wouldn't crank anymore, right? So I pulled the key out of the switch, stuck it back in. It crunk up. That time it ran. But the check engine light came on my way home, and it was P0024. Something about, I think it's the Bank 2 exhaust cam was too advanced, is what it was. Well, so I'm thinking like, damn, what I got to do to fix that, right? Well, I decided to go ahead and replace the alternator. I replaced the alternator. The check engine light never came back on. Turns out the engine is a dual overhead cam V6. It's got 4 cam phasers, actuators, whatever, where they work off electricity. They're like magnets. Some kind, I guess they suck the cam in or whatever, push it away. I don't know. But apparently, because the alternator was weak, it didn't supply enough electricity to those cam actuators, so it tripped the code. When I replaced the alternator put out enough power, so I don't have the code no more. So to me, that's kind of amazing. I fixed that on my own. You know, that's amazing to me. But anyway, this is Dre. If you have any questions, comments, leave them.